In this video, we're gonna cover a little introduction about Redux and most of Redux Toolkit to actually work with Redux. If you finish the whole video, I can guarantee you that you don't have to watch another video on Redux Toolkit. So let's begin with Redux. Simply, Redux is a state management library for JavaScript applications. So it just manages and shares states of components. It just basically means you can share data or value from component to another component. But if you know about use context hook, you might ask, why Redux over use context? There is so many good reasons. One of the best reasons is Redux is more powerful for large and complex applications for its predictable and centralized state management. Now, what I meant by predictable and centralized? In Redux, entire state of the app stored in a single object. So all the data in one place makes it more easier to manage. Also, you can't directly change any state. Instead, you have to go through a specific method to change it. And yes, that makes a state predictable. Now let's talk about Redux Toolkit. Redux Toolkit is our main priority. It simplifies Redux setup by providing more tools and best practices. And Redux Toolkit is officially recommended by Redux itself. There are 4 pretty straightforward concepts to set up Redux Toolkit: configure store, creating slice, use dispatch, and use selector. Now let's go through each of it with an example. This is my VS Code. We're gonna make 2 components. One is random number generator and second is number show component. Then we want to pass generated number into this component. First, let's create 2 components. One random number generator and other is number show.jsx. Now we're gonna mount those components into app.jsx. So first import number show from number show and then random number generator from random number generator and just call them in return. Now let's install the Redux Toolkit. So we're gonna type npm i@redux.js/toolkit. After successfully install the package, we wanna make a folder called Redux and we're gonna create 2 files. One is store.js and another is number/.js. Let's go to number/.js. First here we're gonna initialize a state and we're gonna make reducer method to change those states, and that's basically called action objects in Redux. However, there is some boilerplate code structure you have to maintain. We're gonna search for Redux Toolkit create slice and open the first website, and I'm using JavaScript, so I'll shift to JavaScript, but TypeScript is also same. There's no such a big difference. Now let's import create slice from Redux Toolkit. Then we're gonna set our initial state gets type value :0. We are gonna change its value next. Now let's type a number slice equals to create slice. And here we have to type name and then anything you want, but in this case I'm just gonna say number, then mention the initial state, and then we have to create some reducers method. In my case, I'm just gonna create a method called change value. This is gonna take 2 parameters, one is state and other is action. Now we can say state.value equals to action.payload. Now payload is basically passes extra information like a actual value. We will dispatch this function later. Last, we have to just export the actual number slice or reducer and all the methods, like here we can say export const change value equals to number slice.actions. You might ask why number slice.reducers. It returns a object containing many things like name, initial state, and action reducers. So we are just exporting the reducers. And again, we are just exporting change value as number slice action. Now let's set up our random number generator to actually generate some values. So just basically import useState and then make a function to generate the number. Let's say const new number equals to math.floor math.random into 50 plus 1. It's just for I want to generate numbers between 50. Now create a useState and set it to the number. I'm just displaying the number to see it visually. Last, don't forget to set on click on button, and numbers are generated right now. Now the interesting part comes in using of use dispatch. Use dispatch used to store the data to global object. Here's how it works. First import use dispatch and change value from number slice. Now just initialize use dispatch by saying const dispatch equals to use dispatch. Now just dispatch change value new number. This should update the store. Now here we are getting some errors saying to wrap the component in provider. But first we have to configure the store. Let's go to the store.js that we created previously. Let's import configure store first. Then import the number slice we created from number slice. Then we have to store equals to configure store and reducer num number slice. Here you can use the num as a key. And last, just export the store. Now we're back in main.jsx. So we're gonna import the store from store.jsx and provider from React Redux. Now we have to wrap the application into provider. Provider takes one parameter, that is store. In my case, it's a store. Now our error has been fixed. Now let's just back to number show and access the value and display it. So first we're gonna import useSelector from React Redux like this, useSelector, and assign the value like this, each selector state.num.value, and it's just displaying the number and it's just working. So what we did, we created store.js as a global object to save data, and then we create slice that contains all the actions reducer, and then we dispatch the function to store and we access it by using useSelector. Thanks, and if you learned something, you can subscribe. Bye.